Do you feel like, do you want to move closer? Come closer. Okay, that's good. All right, cool. Are we cool with that?
I think so.
I think I'm fine. I'm just going to duck down like that. Okay, cool. Hey everybody, I have somebody wonderful here. What's your name?
Jacob. Hi.
Hi Jacob. And we've just done something interesting. What have we done?
We spoke on a panel at the Stonewall Education Conference.
That's right, and we're here right now lurking in parts of the building while making this vlog. And yeah, it's really cool because I really wanted to chat with Jacob afterwards because I think we've got some similar interests as well. We're both I would say trans activists within the community, and I want you to tell us a little bit about your kind of personal story and then kind of what you're up to now.
Yeah,
as well.
Cool. So I first came out at 14, which didn't really go to plan, and I spent a year kind of doing my thing, and then a few issues kind of arose where I had to detransition because I thought that it would make it easier for a lot of people because they didn't really get it and they didn't really accept it. So I'm a people pleaser. So I did the thing that I knew would make someone else happy and not myself. And so I detransitioned and spent from the age of 15 to 17 living a lie basically as female. I was always quite masculine and always quite boisterous and whatever because I knew that that I wasn't that person that everyone else saw on the outside. And it was a massive turning point for me when I got admitted to hospital in 2012 due to mental health and unstable stuff. And it was like I need to start making myself happy and not make anybody else happy because like people's happiness is great, but my happiness is more important to me at that time. And I thought I need to be selfish now. I need to start doing what was best for me. So whether people got it, whether people understood it, I didn't care. I just wanted to do what I had to do. So at 18, I came out and started my medical transition quite quickly because I'd spent all those years knowing what I wanted. And then at the 18, I just went private and just basically got straight on testosterone and started my medical transition from there. And then 21 now, here I am.
And how do things feel for you now, as opposed to when you were first starting out, even from 14 onwards?
I think a lot of stuff has changed and a lot of stuff has improved. I mean, we've still got a long way to go with regards to school and the society and everything outside that window that's behind this camera. It just needs to change, but a lot has changed and there's a lot more stuff that is on offer for the young people now that I would have absolutely adored if I had that when I was younger.
And it's funny because I'm a generation older than you and you're kind of the generation below me, and we're talking about the generation below that and how good they have it. So I mean, for me, I couldn't agree more with you. You know, I mean, it's so. I just feel so happy that actually people get to have more of a joyful experience from an earlier age, and they get to express themselves and be who they are.
Yeah.
Of course, it's, you know, people at this conference are kind of the lucky ones in many ways because, you know, when I think about people going through difficult times, it's people stuck at home that don't have access to these services for whatever reason. And generally we're pretty lucky in the UK, and things are just terrible in some other countries too. And I'm always quite humbled by that as well. And you're absolutely right about not being able to help anyone else really until you could sort yourself out as well. I can really relate to that too. What's your life like with the work that you do? Like what does an average week look like, for example?
Average week. So I work 3 days a week. I'm a young person's advocacy worker for CAMS. And I see young people, I see young LGBT people. I run a trans youth group every Wednesdays where I'm from in Nottingham.
Cool.
I started off as a volunteer there, and I started off as kind of getting to know everybody, and now I facilitate it. I'm like lead facilitator.
Amazing.
Yeah, so it's a big achievement. And then I deliver training to schools, mainly teachers and professionals. Practitioners and stuff like that around trans identities, and especially being a young trans person, like a lot younger. So all the stuff that comes with it, respecting identities, respecting pronouns, and just making them aware that they have that stuff to put in place if ever anyone comes out of school, or if any like doctors or practitioners get a young person that can talk to them and comes out to them or is already out.
Amazing. That's kind of it kind of ties into the conversation that we were having earlier as well with the young people on the panel chat about what people can do to be involved with activism. And there's two things I can think of. One is that we should talk about is burnout, definitely talk about burnout. And the other is the fact that just being out in itself is kind of a form of activism these days.
Yeah, definitely.
But there are things. What kind of things can a young person do to be involved with trans activism?
Well, on my personally, I just reached out to people. I set, because I've got my own what have I got? Presentation. Got my own presentation that basically I talk through to people my journey. I've also got a book that my youth group produced and is now published and out there to buy.
Brilliant.
Sorry. And I read some of that, and then I just talk people through everything really, from how I was feeling, my massive crises, my massive ups and downs that I've had, just to give it kind of the shock factor that that's the kind of life that I had to go through before I got here. And reaching out to people, so just don't beat around the bush, just go straight for it and say, can I do this in your school or in your college? And then people just it kind of it piles on top of each other. So if you are in one agency, somebody from another agency has come because they've been invited, and then their agency wants to come and see you, and they want you to come there.
I see. So it has a knock-on effect.
Literally, and then I get invited to this place and that place, and then before you know it, I'm everywhere.
So how many years have you been doing this for?
No, only in the last 2 years.
Last 2 years.
Yeah.
I've kind of been doing this for the past 5 years, and I'm definitely at the point where even small things stress me out. So I know that I'm definitely at the point of kind of that burnout stage, and I think that if I can't look after myself at this point, then I'm of no use to anyone anyway. So I think that it's important for people to remember that you can give a lot, and I think the more you give, often the more it kind of never ends. There's no end point to that. It just kind of expands and expands. So to be able to do a little bit of self-care is really, really important, and kind of pick and choose. Now I'm trying to pick and choose my involvement with stuff, but again, it's really hard.
It's just looking after yourself, because you're jumping in the deep end. You're putting yourself into some stressful positions that probably not a lot of people
know about.
Put themselves in. And you do need to look after yourself when you're doing all of this, because it is stressful and it drains you.
It can be very draining.
Of course.
For sure.
Because you don't give to receive.
I was thinking a little bit about the different types of trans kind of out trans people, and I think it falls into two categories, and I feel like actually I've got one foot in both of these categories. One is kind of grassroots trans activism, where you're going to schools, doing wonderful work that people may never hear about actually, and then there's the other type of work, which is like the kind of trans celebrity stuff, where you're kind of having your photograph taken at various events with the logos behind you, and you're getting on these lists and stuff like that. And I find that slightly repulsive in some ways, because I just don't feel like we're there yet with activism. And for every person that's on one of these lists, it either gives them a massive ego, or it makes other people feel bad that they're not on those lists. And I think that can be very damaging for the work that's actually happening out there. Either people who are creating new policies or changing schools one at a time. So I don't know what the solution is, but it's just an observation really at this point.
Just get out there, I guess. I mean, you're less validated if you don't have a name on your list, or you don't have your actual face out there on posters and in the media. You know what I mean? We
need more like non-conforming trans people. We need more people out there to be stand up and be counted, who aren't your average binary heteronormative type of people, and that's what I'd like to see more of. Perfect body. Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, I'm we have some representation in the media, and we have not a lot, obviously, but it always seems to come down to the typical cis passing person which is the ideal attractive person in society that represents the whole trans community, and to me that does not
represent the trans community.
That does not represent me.
We're such a broad community as well, and you know, for anyone who falls outside of that, you're just going to feel bad about yourself, and that's not progress. So anyway, an ongoing conversation, I'm sure. But Jacob, it's been such a pleasure to chat with you.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, will you just give us a twirl with your hair, man? Very nice, very nice.
Can you
Beautiful
see that?
hair. Thanks a lot, man.
Thank
Cheers.
you.